You all have had no idea how much I've been wanting to talk about this game. From the moment I finished this game, I knew this game was something special. And now I get the chance to discuss this game with you all, ladies, gents, and everything in between. May I present Phoenix Wright's Ace Attorney, or commonly referred to as Ace Attorney 1. If you ask me, I think the Ace Attorney franchise as a whole is in my argument as to why video games are a medium, with the way they integrate actual courtroom things into game mechanics, all while having some of the most interesting characters I've seen. I have thought long and hard on what I want to talk about with this game. I guess I could do a case ranking, but that's what everyone does. I want to try something new. But then I thought, hey, you know what my channel's commonly known for? Villains. And luckily for us, Ace Attorney has a lot of great villains. Well, the series technically refers to them as culprits, but anyway, every case has to have them. They're what get the case rolling. Today, I'd like to analyze every culprit and put them on my tier list. But real quick, I want to put a disclaimer here. This is a murder mystery game, so be prepared to see a corpse or two. I'll try to avoid it as possible, but just be prepared. Alright, we good? Good. Coming up first on the stand is Frank Sawit, who I don't have a lot to say on, really. He's just a guy who just so happened to kill someone. I mean, I don't hate him per se. I think he's a decent first culprit. I view him in the same boat as Boom Boom from Mario, where he's memorable because he was the first character you beat, rather than the fight being difficult or anything really interesting or challenging, really. I'll give him C tier for this reason. Okay, it's gonna get a lot more interesting here, I promise, because the next culprit has an accomplice. Today we'll be talking her first because she shows up before the real murderer. Real quick, I'm watching the anime adaptation of the game as I write this, and they give Mia so many scenes before she bites the dust. It's like, Phoenix, all these people down here are going through their own struggles. It's up to us as lawyers to help them. Or, Phoenix, looks like we'll need to mine iron in order to craft axes. Anyway, back to the culprit, sorry. Okay, to remind you, the witness you see before you isn't actually the murderer, but rather an accomplice. Now, she is a little more interesting than our last culprit, but not by much. Basically, her thing, if you couldn't already tell by her design, is using her looks to sway the court to her favor. I mean, it's at least a gimmick rather than no gimmick. Basically, her task was to record the fake sister's call for her boss, who we'll get into soon, for the murder. Shows loyalty, I guess. Can you see I'm grasping for something to talk about in terms of character? I think she still sees her. Okay, moving on to a character I have things to say about. This dude right here. For one, yes, this is the culprit, don't worry. For two, I haven't mentioned it until now, but a popular idea in the fanbase is that the first game is a critique on the legal system, which probably isn't more apparent than Red White. Red is a CEO of the company Blue Corp, similar to Bob Iger of Disney or Steve Jobs of Apple, who, like those, has lawyers he can call and get away for his crimes. In fact, in the game, it's pointed that Mia isn't his first victim, as you see multiple police deaths linked to him, which Red states hides by saying they were self-kills. Where have I heard this before? Now, just hearing my description, he sounds like a cool villain, doesn't he? Here's where his character sucks. In the game, Red goes down like a complete chump in court. It takes no time for him to completely lose it. When I first played this game, I thought he was a complete waste who could have been replaced by April as a killer, since, you know, her looks being the main thing, which is fitting, a CEO of something. But that was done, and I haven't seen the anime yet. Well, what do I think of him now? Well, nothing's really changed after seeing it. He's still just extremely unmemorable. I like in the anime they build up to first meeting Red, unlike in the game where he just shows up. With that being said, I do have an incredibly nitpicky thing about the anime adaptation of him. I remember in the game when you start questioning him, he punches you, and just looking at his hands and the sound effect, it was a pretty hefty punch. But they cut that in the anime, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just me misremembering. To finally wrap this up, I think for the guy who killed your mentor, they could have made him a way better threat. You know what? I won't cut quarters. F tier. I've been so negative in this video. Is there still hope? Well, this guy. This guy! Manfred von Karma is the standout Ace Attorney culprit, and for my money, one of the greatest video game villains of all time. For one, he feels like an actual character instead of just one gimmick brought to life. For two, once you learn this story, you realize how much he's affected the larger story as a whole. For context, Manfred is a prosecution attorney who hasn't lost a case in his 40-year career, which is already a red flag because that would be a lot of potentially innocent clients thrown to jail, which is pretty intimidating considering all your clients have been innocent thus far. It really makes Manfred feel like a final boss. And this is before you meet him. In court, he's completely serious and is straight to the point, unlike the last prosecutors who had comedic parts and were generally more laid back. During the later end of the last case, you hear a lot about him as a character, and he really doesn't really care about anybody but for himself. For AC, he did a lot to keep his clear 40-win record, like forging evidence or killing a defense attorney, which leads us perfectly into the DL6 incident, taking place 15 years from the last case of the first game. A notable trial happened. However, at one point, Manfred, the prosecution, got penalized. This is a penalty, mind you. This infuriated Manfred so much that during the recess of the trial, he straight up shot and killed the defense attorney, Gregory Edgeworth. And this action is what causes almost the entirety of Ace Attorney to happen. It's what led Mia to become a defense attorney, which is what also led to Phoenix becoming one. And as if all of this was bad enough, Gregory had a son, Miles Edgeworth, which Manfred decides to raise as his own. Can you imagine how horrifying it would be to be unbeknownst adopted by your father's killer? All to continue that maintain that perfect legacy. The scary thing is, even after you defeat him and rightfully throw him in jail, his presence still lingers throughout the game. Miles is understandably traumatized and goes for an off-screen character arc. And then there's his biological daughter who, well, she's for a later video. So, yeah, he's intimidating, relishes in his evil actions, and leaves a huge impact on the series. I see no reason why he shouldn't be S tier. I'm going to be honest, aside from Manfred, most of these characters aren't very good. But you know what? That's okay. Sometimes in order for something to be special, you need to have bad stuff for it to make it that way. And you know what? The culprits are just one thing that makes me love these games. I didn't get to talk about the music, or the amazing visuals, or the other charming characters like Maya, Emma, Edgeworth, Gumshoe, Emma, Lotta. And did I mention Emma? I'm definitely going to do another Ace Attorney video, even if it's not a ranking. In the meantime, if you thought Manfred was evil, well, that's right, next time we're going there.